Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Call of Duty World War II, the full game, single player and multiplayer, on the GeForce GTX 1060, 6GB for FPS monitoring. This time I won't be using cam, since I'm now currently working with this game, and if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel directly, there are Humble and Amazon affiliate links down in the description. So Call of Duty World War II, single player and multiplayer, I'll be doing 1080p, 1440p and 4K. To skip down at those sections of the video, check the description below. So first I'll show you 1080p on the G4560, and after that I'll show you 1080p, 1440p and 4K, but this time using a Ryzen 3 1200 overclocked to 3.9 GHz, since I saw a little less usage on that one and the game felt smoother overall. But well, on 1080p I'm going to be using on single player almost the maximum settings. I'll just lower shadows from extra to high, since if I didn't do that it would drop below 60 frames per second on the single player. But then on multiplayer I cranked up the shadows to extra, so we have pretty much the maximum settings on multiplayer, since it seems to be a little less demanding on the GPU since the maps are smaller. And well, then on 1440p I just lower shadows a little bit more, and I also lowered ambient occlusion, and that was enough to be at 60 frames per second just fine. Maybe a couple drops here and there, but it stays over 60 frames per second most of the time. And finally at 4K it was impossible to maintain a constant 60 frames per second, so I overclocked the GTX 1060, lowered the settings quite a bit. And while multiplayer is more consistent, but you will get some drops here and there. So at 4K I recommend using pre-T2X resolution, which will give you half the pixels in the horizontal axis. That means that we're using a lower resolution, but I recommend you do that. You get a big performance uplift, and you won't notice that much of a difference because the anti-aliasing solution is quite good at hiding the lack of pixels. So I recommend you check it out if you want to play at 4K. But yeah, overall it runs quite good. I would play on 1080p or 1440p. Those seem to be the best resolutions for this GPU. Plus the game looks better compared to 4K low settings. So yeah, now I'm going to talk to you about the options menu and overall performance. So in the options menu, the things that by lowering them got me a good boost in performance, first of all, were shadows. The shadow map resolution was the biggest hit to the frame rate. You have normal, high and extra. They don't look that much different in my opinion. Normal still looks good enough. So if you use normal instead of extra, it's a huge performance uplift. I show you an example at the end of the video using a 1050 Ti. The difference in performance between normal, high and extra, you'll see that there's a big difference in performance. Then we got shadow depth. You have normal and high. I recommend using high. The game looks less flat while using this. A lot of shadows will be missing if you use the lowest setting here, but it's also a hit to the frame rate. Not as big as shadows, but it's still quite noticeable. Then depth of field, you have off, low, medium and high. I recommend turning this off if you don't care about depth of field, because when you aim your gun down sights you get a hit to the frame rate. But using between low and high, I didn't see that big of a difference, so I recommend using low if you're getting performance hits while aiming down sights. Then on screen space ambient occlusion, you got many options. HBAO Plus is the biggest hit there, so if you use GTAO, it'll still look nice enough, but it will be a smaller hit to the frame rate compared to HBAO Plus. Then you got medium distance ambient occlusion, which is also a noticeable hit to the frame rate. With this enabled, you get more ambient occlusion on extra objects, so if you turn this off, some stuff won't have ambient occlusion onto it, which makes the game look flatter. And well, those were the main options that gave me the biggest impact in performance. If you want some extra performance other than that, just lower the options I didn't mention in groups. And the texture quality, if you have a 4GB of VRAM card, use high, don't use extra, it uses more VRAM. The VRAM usage gauge in this game is inaccurate, so keep that in mind. But yeah, this options menu is quite nice, a lot of options, you get the explanation on the right, plus a picture showing you the differences, so that's good to have. And well, you'll notice that on all my videos on this game, I'm using 16GB of RAM. That's because this game on multiplayer, single player and zombies, it can use more than 8GB of RAM, so keep that in mind. If you have 8GB, you should still be fine, you should be able to play the game, but you might get some stutters here and there that are quite annoying. So yeah, take that in account if you're going to purchase this game. It uses a lot of RAM, even on single player. And while talking about single player, my testing methodology was going into single player into a very foliage dense area, so you'll see when I'm between many trees plus god rays plus enemies plus all that kind of stuff, I'll get the lowest performance, but outside of those areas is fine. Then I'll test multiplayer. I won't be testing the same map on multiplayer since I was unable to get to the same map consistently, but overall they run quite similar. And on multiplayer you have your own graphic settings, so if you configure something for single player, on multiplayer you have to do it again. But usually multiplayer ran a little better than single player. Single player in my end ran the worst. And then I didn't test zombies because it was the one that ran better than multiplayer and better than single player, at least on my end. So if you want to play zombies, you'll be fine. Just use the options I selected on the multiplayer option. And this game uses a lot of CPU. You'll see that the G4560 is pretty much at 100% all the time. On some videos I'll test the Ryzen 3 1200 and it wasn't that different. I mean, it used less CPU on the Ryzen, but the GPU usage was already over 90% the majority of the time. So we're over 60 frames per second, no problem. If you have an i5, a Ryzen 5, a Ryzen 7, an i7, something like that, you'll still be able to be over 60 frames per second, as long as your GPU is good enough. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
Spread out! Move! Push him back! Get after them! Come on, they're on the run! Keep pushing! There's the black gun! Getting close! Grenade out!
Those Stukas are killing our tanks!
Armor needs our support! We're gonna take the AA gun behind that tree line! There's the AA gun! Let's clean up these crowds and help our tanks out! Get on that flak gun and take out those Stukas!
Recon airborne, searching for targets. Enemy strafing run inbound. Enemy mortar fire incoming. Fall back. Crossing splits X-bomb. Care package descending. Protect the DZ. Recon airborne, searching for targets.
Scheiße! Er kommt nicht durch!
Enemy bomb incoming. Get to cover. Recon airborne. Enemy recon aircraft in the air.
Come on, they're on the run! Keep pushing!
We're surrendering! Hold your fire! You two, secure those prisoners! Daniels, keep us moving!
There's the black gun! Getting close!
Those Stuke guys are killing our tanks! Armor needs our support! We're gonna take the AA gun behind that tree line!
There's the AA gun! Let's clean up these crowds and help our tanks out!
Get on that black gun and take out those Stukers! Those bombers are killing our armor! You gotta take them down! Here they come! 1 o'clock! Target destroyed! Got one! It's going down! Bring the war to them and bring it hard. We have the lead! We're breaking their backs! Recon searching for targets.
Keep down! Spread out!
Move! Push him back!
Get after them! Come on, they're on the run! Keep pushing!
Target 11 o'clock! Taking a shot! Bullseye! Gotta reload!
On the floor, Fritz!
You two, secure those
On the
prisoners.
floor, Fritz!
Daniels, keep us moving!
Down,
Enemy
down.
trade! Daniels, secure the enemy! Make track, come on!
I need more ammo, Lieutenant.
Here, Daniels!
There's the flak gun!
Those Stukas are killing our tanks! Armor needs our support! We're gonna take the AA gun behind that tree line! Dead!
There's the AA gun! Let's clean up these crowds and help our tanks out!
Coming from the south!
I need that aid kit!
On it! Get on that flak gun and take out those Stukas!
Hiding in the storeroom!
Need another bandolier! searching for targets.